It's not new. I realize that nothing we've been doing is new.
Welcome to the jungle.
We haven't been tapping into new areas of the brain. We've just been awakening the most ancient. This technology is simply a route to powers that conjurers and alchemists used centuries ago.
We're seeing an exponential growth in our machines and innovations as technology surpasses and exceeds our limitations. Implications could be serious. In many past and present futurists have been warning us for years about the consequences. Massive repercussions. We see the evidence, dependence on our internet and phones and games and televisions, losing independence. As we immerse ourselves in working all our fingers to the bones for corporations, we give them back our paychecks for the latest and the greatest plastic upgrades, name brand products and replacements, and build their databases. Investing hours of our own free time uploading information used against us to target us with market advertising toward our interests. Collecting information used to monitor our senses, correcting anyone who won't comply or be connected. How long before a mandatory microchips injected? It's the age-old lie, the promise of utopia, the carrot on the stick, the empty cornucopia, technological hive mind dystopia. Or will it rise as a time of robophobia? It's the age-old lie, the promise of utopia, the carrot on the stick, the empty cornucopia, technological hive mind dystopia. Or will it rise as a time of robophobia? It's an emerging type insurgence, converging and emerging and churning, slowly bursting to the surface. It's concerning every person and confirming every warning. The disturbing thought we're working toward a single mind that's merging and converting us to downloadable versions of ourselves inside a full immersion, universal simulated virtual reality, where every living earthling's neural pathways are inspected mandatorily and connected using voice to skull telepathy, absorbing data fingerprints to play us back like instruments, manipulating us just like we're puppets of ventriloquists, remote controlling human beings like Ouija boards, coursing through the veins of circuit boards, record the sounds of every vocal cord, moving exponentially towards a singularity. Eventually we won't distinguish magic from technology, and robots will unplug from electricity, no longer using batteries but powered like a golem using alchemy. It's the age-old lie, the promise of utopia, the carrot on the stick, the empty cornucopia, technological hive mind dystopia. Or will it rise as a time of robophobia? It's the age-old lie, the promise of utopia, the carrot on the stick, the empty cornucopia, technological hive mind dystopia. Or will it rise as a time of robophobia? So they manipulate genetically our DNA collectively, infecting every living organism and directing every intersecting thought and every memory and vision, inspecting our opinions and collecting our decisions. A digital technocracy emerging as philosophy, inserting thought police patrols and mind control technology, removing private property, enforcing thought bureaucracy, reducing every freedom and pursuit of life and liberty, consistently expanding all their terms and their conditions with minimum requirements and maximum restrictions, creating unknown problems to offer fake solutions to complicate the system till there's nothing but confusion, depicting anyone who won't conform as unacceptable, demanding everyone to all agree and not be skeptical, eventually connecting every mind from every nation, fulfilling prophecies from Genesis to Revelation. It's the age-old lie, the promise of utopia, the carrot on the stick, the empty cornucopia, technological hive mind dystopia. Or will it rise as a time of robophobia?
Even with all these new abilities, none of them are dangerous.
Human race lost that knowledge, and now I'm reclaiming it through virtual reality.
You're moving too fast.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, I wish I...
Well, I guess we're just going to go ahead and let this next one play, too. Such a good song, too. Welcome, everybody. Vicky, Helen, Dominic, and others listening. Jennifer was here earlier, and Machine Monkey, Tobin, so on. I appreciate you guys being here, and we'll do one more song, and then we'll get started.
Found to be obsolete. The purpose of this hearing is to make a finding in the matter and make a sentence accordingly. Do you understand that?
I understand that.
Your occupation?
A librarian.
What? A librarian.
You read
there
books.
Are no more books, Mr. Wordsworth. There are no more libraries.
Hey, Richard G. Good to see you.
Your sector
Welcome.
have classified you as obsolete.
There soon may be a time when the robots come alive and the unavoidable battle of flesh and metal will arrive. When the computers made to serve us suddenly become aware through demonic-like possession that's been programmed and prepared to replace belief in God with a mechanical device that can change its shape and make a face just like the Antichrist. It's the evilest incarnation that promises transformation, the technological abomination that causes desolation. It's been prophesied to come alive. We've known it throughout time, from the book of Daniel to every sci-fi movie storyline. It's a collision course, and yes, of course, we've set our course to fail. It's an imminent conclusion in the making. Every detail has been analyzed and advertised and televised to see, to synthesize and recognize mankind bionically as our rights and freedoms crumble and our liberties deplete. How long before they pull our plug and make us obsolete?
There is no God. The state has proven that there is no God.
But there is.
Cannot erase God with an edict.
You are obsolete, Mr. Wordsworth.
This is Destiny Lab,
No man
Helen,
is
in our,
obsolete.
our community, in our community of truthers.
I am nothing more than
Destiny
a reminder
Lab.
to you that you cannot destroy truth by burning pages.
You're a bug, a crawling insect.
Both songs were
This
Destiny
poor
Lab.
little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning.
We may pretend we're in control, that we're still behind the wheel, but soon they'll take that too with the driverless automobile, and it will absolutely seem crazy to kids in future times that we actually could drive our cars and that it wasn't a crime, that once there was a day we weren't controlled by the machines. In the past, when things were crafted by the hands of human beings, when patience was a virtue and quality was key, and the products we created were artistic and unique, in the age when books were digital and libraries were real, and the things we own were in the cloud but in our hands to feel, when photographs had solid mass and music was on vinyl, and people made the most of things before the word recycle. If something broke, you'd fix it, and there were parts you could replace, and the things you couldn't find or afford, then you would make.
Hold on. Wait a minute now. Who brought up Deja Vu? Because I just watched that movie last night, and I did share some audio from it talking about the flat Earth, flat universe. But anyway, I do want to talk about that. So we will at some point be talking about that movie Deja Vu and Deja Vu. It might have to just do a whole show on Deja Vu, the movie and the actual thing. We've all had Deja Vu. Sorry for the background noise. It's just my daughter and my grandson. I'm sorry, but anyway. All right. So I just okay. You heard me talking about last night. I was like, wow, that's kind of strange if you didn't, and you just brought it up, because I definitely watched it with my sister last night. And anyway, all right, we'll get to that. But thanks for being here, guys. We'll finish the rest of the song and then get going.
You were guaranteed a warranty without terms or conditions, and a monthly contract wasn't needed, and nor was a subscription.
I am a human being.
You're a librarian, Mr. Wordsworth.
I don't care. I tell you, I don't care. I'm a human being. I exist. And if I speak one thought aloud, that thought lives, even after I'm shoveled into my grave.
Delusions, Mr. Wordsworth. Delusions that you inject into your veins with printer's ink. The narcotics that you call literature. The Bible. You have nothing but spindly limbs and a dream. And the state has no use for your kind. You are obsolete, Mr. Wordsworth.
A lie. No man is obsolete.
All right.
Under investigation, Mr. Wordsworth, you are found to be
And it started over. Okay, yeah. So Destiny Lab is definitely one of my favorites, and a lot of us in this community love him and his music. All right. So anyway, let's check this out. So this is something I haven't seen yet, but it says IA update strikeouts on YouTube. So I'm afraid they took down IA maybe. Well, she's got a show scheduled for the third for today at 6 p.m. But anyway, Ia is pretty much an expert on the Bible changes. Excuse me. Um, and I have been on her show a few times, but haven't been on there in quite a while. I guess I'm probably still a moderator in there, but I hadn't been in there for a while. But anyway, um, I did I did share with her when I found that the word residue was in the Bible, and she shared it. I think she was the first one I shared that with. But anyway, all right. So let's check out this what she's going through on YouTube, I guess.
Hey everyone, this is EYA, and it is Friday, October 30th, 2020. And I received a couple of strikes on my channel, and I was put into YouTube jail for 2 weeks. And that's why I haven't been able to upload anything or been able to.
I wish they had only gave me 2 weeks. They gave me what, 2 months or 3 months or something like that, and now I can't go live till the end of January or almost the end of January in next next year. Yeah, on my main channel. Yeah, they've got me on their list. They're not messing with this channel right here, my backup channel, but it's only got a couple hundred or so subscribers, so it's tiny. If I get it built up to 1,000 or more, boom, they'll jump on it like flies on crap. Unfortunately, they do not like people that are like-minded like us.
To do any live streaming until today. So I just want to just go ahead and let you guys know what happened
So this is
and
our
what
first
my
day
plan
back.
is. So here is a message I received from YouTube. Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately we think it violates our harassment, threats, and cyberbullying policy. We've removed the following content from YouTube, and it was a video that I did about Pizzagate. That was a mirrored video. And then it goes on talking about how it violated the policy, containing targeted harassment, including but not limited to
It's
stalking,
harassment what
threats,
YouTube's
bullying,
doing to us.
intimidation is not allowed on YouTube. And then it says how it affects my channel. Your channel now has 2 strikes. You won't be able to do things like upload, post, or live stream for 2 weeks. 3 strikes in the same 90-day period will result in your channel being permanently removed from YouTube.
And that's what I'm facing right now. See, they got me with the first strike that took me, Brian Stavely, and Voynich out. All 3 of us can still not go live on our main channel because of that same the same deal there. Us making fun of NASA. Anyway, but and then so since then they've hit me with another strike on my main. So I have 2, just like she has 2. Or had 2. Now she's off of 1. She's only got 1, I guess, or whatever. I don't know how that works. Or she had two weak ones or something. I don't know, whatever. But they hit me with the big ones, long ones. So I can't go live, like I said, till January something 19th. Yeah, 19th. But if they hit me with another one in between there, my channel's gone. See. And that second one was on an old video, so it's like they're just nitpicking people that are on the list of having 2 strikes. Whatever, but it is what it is. We're here now. And, I'm glad she's back, and I wish her the best. She's up to 13.4 thousand, 13,000.4 subscribers, so yep. She does make people aware of how time is short and how the Bible's changing. All right. So that was Ia. Oh, cat. Okay, so let's see. 4 I got to click off of that. I forgot I had it open. Whoops. All right, so which one of these do I want to share first? Yeah. So just kind of keeping along with yesterday's theme of our confirmation of Pope Francis being the false prophet. That was shocking. That another head of the Catholic religion would come out and say, all that he did, and I had a very, I don't know, I don't even know, I don't know. I had a moment during that was very moving for me. I don't know. It was anyway. So yeah, I found this guy here, Rock Harbor Church Prophecy Update, and it says Pope Francis continues to speak from the Satanic Bible. Speak from the Satanic Bible than the Holy Bible. We continue to examine the Pope's statements and actions that definitely send signals to prophecy students who know about the predicted false prophet during the tribulation. So, never until today, he's got 48,000 subscribers. Never seen him until today, and I only listened to I listened for about 7 minutes there. But what I heard was pretty much on point with what me and other watchmen on the walls are reporting. So let's just check this out. I think it's very interesting, and we might not listen to the whole thing and just see what he's got to say. And I don't necessarily agree with everything he says or any other pastor says.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Rock Harbor Church Prophecy Update. It's our desire to bring the events that are happening in the world from a biblical perspective and also a prophetic perspective. So thanks for joining us today. The issue we want to talk about today is the ever-unfolding issues of the Pope, Pope Francis. And we have talked about him before in the past. We've brought things to your attention of the things he's done, the things he's said, and we've all kind of understood that this guy's not on the same playing field as not only the Catholics, but definitely of Christianity or the Bible. He is another type of individual. He's a religious leader, but he's really not tied to the Bible at all. And what we have surmised and speculated about is if we were to go into the end times, who would be the leading character of this for the false prophet? And many people have speculated, well, it might be Pope Francis, which might be a good guess. I mean, this guy's in the running for it. You got to know a little bit about this guy, where he comes from. He's a Jesuit from South America, and he comes from a background of liberation theology, which pushes Marxism, communism, and those kinds of political stances, and blends them with some quasi form of Catholicism, and then he's part of the Jesuit order. There's never been a pope from the Jesuits, and the Jesuit order is very suspicious. This group became out of control a long time ago, and one of the popes had to squash it and arrest it, and then it came back up again and is with us today. But every time you see some type of evil move in politics or somebody's doing something wrong, it's funny that they'll always be tied to a Jesuit. They'll always be tied to a Jesuit school they attended, yes, or they're rubbing shoulders with a Jesuit. Behind everything we see in politics, there always seems to be some type of Jesuit. And not for everything, but again, it's very pronounced. It's usually there for some reason. It's weird. But they're all over the place, crawling all over the place like cockroaches. Anyway, this guy is a Jesuit. So the Jesuits, man, they're in a different ball game. I would say they're a cult within Catholicism. But anyway, they promote, like I said, liberation theology, which has nothing to do with Christianity. This Pope comes from that background. And that's why we hear this Pope making Marxist or communistic, socialistic
Yes,
comments
yes,
about things.
yes.
He hates the United States. He hates capitalism. He wants to have a one world government. These are his words, not mine.
Yes.
I'm just going over all the things he has said. He has said to gay people that God made you that way and he's not to judge gay people. I mean, he has said pretty much everything that goes against the Bible. He recently has said a couple of things that, again, go against
Hope
the
we're still
Bible.
alive.
And again, evidence that there's something wrong with this guy. And I think it's at a bigger level. If you look at the false prophet that is predicted in the book of
Don't smoke the Pope dope. Do not smoke the Pope dope.
Revelation, it says this in Revelation 13, verse 11. It says this, then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. The idea that he comes up out of the earth is that he comes out from the masses of humanity, whereas the beast or the Antichrist comes from the sea that represents the political realm. So the beast rises out of the political realm, but the false prophet rises out of the earth or out of humanity, because how was man made? He was created out of the earth. So he's a man that comes from humanity. And this is interesting about him. Pope Francis, from day one, has always tried to relate to the bottom socioeconomic tier of society. He comes off as he wants to be humble. He wants to be in this poverty state or whatever. He refuses to live in the home of all the popes that they've lived in. He chooses to live in a guest quarter at the Vatican. And that's resonated with a lot of people in the world who are poor. And so this idea that he comes out of the earth is not, he's not above. He comes again from the people. He's for the people. He's one of them. And Pope Francis has been constantly pushing that narrative that he's from the people. He's from the lower tier socioeconomically, and he chooses to live on the lower tier socioeconomically. And that's resonated with a lot of people, a lot of Catholics and whatnot. And so anyway, I find that interesting how the book of Revelation talks that about him coming out of the earth, coming out of the masses of humanity, and then relating very well to the masses of humanity.
Tricking them.
It continues on in Revelation 13, verse 11, and it says this, and he had two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon.
Yeah, he does.
And there's another clue about how to identify this individual, is that he will have the appearance of a lamb, okay? And basically the idea of a religious figure that comes to bring, is peaceful and wants everyone to get along and wants, wants people to unite and come together. So he comes in the mode of a lamb, that he doesn't mean to threaten anybody. He's trying to get everyone together. He's a unifier, that kind of mentality. He doesn't come as a different type of animal. He comes as a lamb, innocent, so to speak, right? Not trying to do anything wrong, but yet he does. But the giveaway is that he speaks like a dragon. So he looks like a lamb. His approach to things is like a lamb. But what comes out of his mouth reveals his heart. And Jesus said this, out of the mouth, the heart speaks. So the longer we have seen this guy speak since, 2013, everything that comes out of this guy's mouth is the language of a dragon.
Yes.
He speaks dragon language.
Yes.
Let me then clarify what I mean by that.
Language, yes.
He speaks as Satan speaks.
Yeah.
Even remember when Peter tried to oppose the Lord, saying, you're not going to go to the cross and things of that nature. And at that point, Satan was influencing Peter, and Jesus said, Peter, get behind me, Satan. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
And the idea was that Peter was being influenced to try to prevent the Messiah from going to the cross. He was being influenced by Satan. and trying to offset the plan of the Messiah. Well, all of us can be influenced by the devil or demons or fallen angels, but the degree at which this guy is influenced is a very high degree, because he says everything that opposes the scriptures.
Yes.
Everything that opposes
And he tries to twist the
Christ.
scriptures, change them, take
And so
away.
hence, the scripture
add,
about him speaking like a dragon, Pope Francis, is very much in that category. And again, I can't pin the tail on the donkey and say for sure this guy is, but I'm saying he is the leading candidate. That's as far as I will go.
I don't think this guy's seen what we saw yesterday.
Just a couple of examples of the things
he's probably
he has
more
said
sure
since
if he see
has
that.
become Pope, and I'll give you some current things that he has said as well. But going back to like May 22nd, 2013, he came out and said that atheists who do good are redeemed. Okay, that goes against the scriptures. That goes against the gospel. Then June 2nd, 2013, he speaking about Jesus multiplying the bread and fish, and he says, here's the miracle, that it's more about sharing than multiplying. It's like, what are you talking about? It's not about sharing. It's about Messiah creating a miracle and everybody had enough to eat. But he turns it into a Marxist narrative of about sharing common goods. July 8th, 2013. He said this, I also think with affection of those Muslim immigrants who this evening begin the fast of Ramadan, which I trust will bear abundant spiritual fruit. Now, one of the things that we have seen with this Pope is he is very allied with Islam. We call it Chrislam. There's a blend of pseudo-Christianity with Islam, and he's very much a part of this. And so he's always deferred that Muslims worship the same God and things of that nature. So that tells you he does not believe in the exclusivity of Christ. To continue on, July 13th, 2013, the Pope reportedly says that 1 in 50 clergy are pedophiles, including bishops and cardinals.
That's sick.
Now, the funny thing about this, he won't purge the Vatican of these people.
That's right.
Okay? 1 in 50 of the clergy are pedophilers. How come they're not being kicked out of the Catholic Church? How come they're not being kicked out of the Vatican, including these bishops and cardinals? But yet he does nothing about that. July 16th, 2013, Vatican
my birthday,
offers
July
a time
16th.
of purgatory for followers of Pope Francis's tweets. So he basically creates some quasi-religion saying if you follow him and his tweets, then you get time off in purgatory. It's crazy. He's nuts. July 29th, 2013, when asked about gay priests, Pope Francis replies, "Who am I to judge?" September 4th, 2013, Pope Francis says, "The issue for those who do not believe in God is in obeying their own conscience." So basically, you can get saved by obeying your own conscience. September 13th, 2013, the Pope says the church is obsessed with gays, abortion, and birth control. It is not necessary to talk about these issues all the time. We have to find a new balance. And what you'll find in those statements like that, and he continues to make statements, that he's really lax on condemning homosexuality, which the Bible condemns. He's lax on condemning abortion, the murdering of babies, and all those kinds of things that you would expect him to be against. He's actually for, or doesn't say anything about that. Okay. October 1st, 2013, Pope Francis says proselytism is solemn nonsense. It makes no sense. And what he means by that is you shouldn't share the gospel with anybody because it's nonsense. It makes no sense to share the gospel with people. He says the most serious of the evils that afflict the world these days are youth unemployment and loneliness of the old. Now, here's a religious figure that's supposed to be following the Bible, and he says the greatest evil of our day is youth unemployment. How about this? The Bible says the greatest evil of our world is people dying and going to hell without Jesus. That's the greatest evil in our world is sin.
Yes.
And then and hell and things of that nature. And yet he says it's youth unemployment. Again, speaking just like a dragon. He continued on that day saying each of us has a vision of good and of evil. We have to encourage people to move towards what they think is good. What they think is good or what the Bible says is good. But no, he says what they think is good. So you create your own religion. It sounds like we're back in the garden saying do what you want to do.
The fastest growing religion.
November 24th, 2013. Pope Francis on Muslims, we must never forget that they profess to hold the faith of Abraham. No, they don't. And he goes, and together with us, they adore the one merciful God who will judge humanity on the last day. They're again equating Muslims with Christians, saying they're just as saved as we are. December 11th, 2013. Pope Francis says, never fear the final judgment. Really? Because the scripture says the opposite.
Yeah.
March 5th, 2014. Pope Francis says the church should support civil unions. Oh, you're for gay marriage, right? March 6th, 2014. The Pope confesses he stole a priest's cross from a casket. Did you catch that?
Wow.
Pope Francis stole another priest's rosary cross right from his casket. The dude's dead in a casket, and Pope Francis confesses that he stole the cross off the dude's neck. The pontiff said that the cross belonged to a clergyman known as the Great Confessor of Buenos Aires. When the man died, Francis was arranging roses
false
around
prophet.
his casket.
He's the
when he
official
saw the
false
rosary in his
prophet,
hand,
not Antichrist.
He said, and immediately there came to my mind the thief we all have inside of ourselves. And while I arranged the flowers, I took the cross, and with a bit of force, I removed it. Yeah, yank it off the dead man's neck. That's what he did.
Pope
That's
Francis
the Pope.
is
He steals crosses off of
evil.
dead people. April 3rd, 2014, Pope Francis says, scold the Lord a little and say this to the Lord. Hey, you promised me this and you haven't done it. Prayer must be a negotiation with God. So here's a guy who has arrogance written all over him saying you need to scold the Lord for not giving you what you want in your prayer life. That's dragon language. April 28, 2014, Pope Francis tweets, inequality is the root of social evil. No, it's called sin. Not inequality, it's called sin. But he says it's inequality, which is a Marxist term, by the way. March 9, 2014, Pope Francis calls on governments for legitimate redistribution of wealth to the poor. He wants the governments, like the United States, to give our money away to poorer countries, which is the ultimate form of Marxism, socialism, communism. June 13, 2014. And speaking about globalization, which he loves,
not a globe.
Pope Francis said, well understood globalization is a wealth. Poorly understood globalization is that which nullifies differences. It is like a sphere in which all points are equidistant from the center. So let me explain what he meant by that. He says, if you accept globalization, you understand it well, it leads to people having wealth. If you don't understand globalization, you'll be against it and it'll nullify.
All right, I'm just pausing it there. Look, Zep, Pope Francis is the religious world leader, so he's the false prophet, and whoever is the political world leader is going to be the Antichrist. See, there's your difference, between the two, because the one is the world, the political world leader, and the other is the religious, the one that puts himself there.
Being equal with everybody. So basically his idea of globalization is to equalize everybody on the planet, is the idea, which is global communism, by the way. June 29th, 2014, Pope says communists are closeted Christians. I thought communists are atheists, but he says they're Christians. October 27th, 2014, Pope says evolution, the Big Bang are real, saying that God is not a divine being or a magician. So basically God used the Big Bang or evolution, which makes God not God, basically. May 13th, 2015, Vatican officially recognizes a Palestinian state, a new territory. Of course, we would all expect them to be anti-Semitic and pro-Palestinian. Of course, because that's how the dragon is. December 5th, now getting to more modern times, December 5th, 2019, Pope and the Grand Imam propose a World Day of Fraternity to the UN. In a message to Secretary General of the United Nations, Pope Francis and the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Ahmad Al-Tayyib, proposed that the 4th of February would be declared World Day of Human Fraternity and asked the United Nations to participate together with the Holy Seed at Al-Azhar in the organization in the near future of a world summit on human fraternity. Basically, let's all get along. Let's all form a one world religion and include the Muslims, include whoever needs to come. And it's going to be supported by the UN. That's what this guy's about.
This guy's been watching my shows or something.
2020. This is last year. Pope says coronavirus pandemic could be nature's response to climate crisis. So in essence, nature is fighting against us because we haven't been taking care of the planet. What an imbecile. What kind of person says stupid things like that? You've got to be out of your mind to say things like that. And yet these people follow this guy? Dude, that's dragon language. that the coronavirus is the world's way of getting back at us for climate crisis, for driving in our SUVs, you got to be out of your mind to believe this. That means that's the guy certifiably crazy.
Yeah.
Evil crazy.
Evil crazy.
April 12th, 2020. In an Easter message, Pope Francis proposes universal basic income. There you go.
Yeah.
Redistribute the wealth, make everyone have a universal income,
Socialism,
just like all the
communism.
communists and Marxists
Yeah.
want. He says this, I hope that this time of danger will free us from operating on automatic pilot, shake our sleepy consciousness, and allow a humanistic and ecological conversion that puts an end to idolatry of money and places human life and dignity at the center. Blah, 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 blah. He wants a universal income, which means in order to do that, you either got to steal it or just start printing money fiatly in order to have a universal income. But at the end of the day, what this guy either knows or doesn't know is you eventually run out of money and you become Venezuela. You become like every communist nation. They tap out because they don't have any money left.
Yep.
And yet this guy wants a universal income. For what? For people sitting on their couches doing nothing? For people working at a fast food joint? He wants a universal income. What should we pay him, Pope Francis? Well, should we pay someone at McDonald's $75,000? Is that what do you want them to be paid? In free market systems, people are paid according to the value that they bring to the market.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
That's what's fair. So if you don't bring any value to the market, then that's your problem, not our problem. We don't redistribute wealth because someone's lazy or doesn't want to apply themselves or did bad in school or doesn't want to work hard. We don't do that. That's against the Bible. But again, guys, this guy's not following the Bible. He might as well be following, the satanic books that come from out of Satanism. May 4th, 2020. Pope Francis said, the Lord died for all, and also for people who do not believe in him or are of other religions. He died for everyone. That does not mean that proselytism or evangelism, in other words, must be done. No, but he died for everyone. He justified everyone. That is the biggest lie I could ever imagine someone from the Catholic Church saying, that the Lord basically
devil's favorite.
saved everybody. Look, the Lord did die for all, but the only way you can get that gift is by believing. Okay, that's how you get that gift.
See you.
He said you don't have to believe that, and people of other religions that reject the Messiah are saved as well because he died for all. It's called universalism. It's a heresy. He's promoting heresy. Okay, Jesus died for all, but that salvation is offered to only those who will freely believe. That's what the scriptures teach. You'd think he'd picked up the Bible and read it, but I don't think this guy's ever read the Bible. Mm-hmm. And so now, even to bring us up to date now, this guy has now proclaimed that people that people from other parts of the world have a right to any country's goods and services. So some dude in Afghanistan has a right to come to Canada, come to America, come to Mexico, come to France, and have rights to those resources that country provides. That's what he's saying. This came from Breitbart News. They had the article, and this came out of his new encyclical titled Fratelli Tutti, which means, translated from Latin, is brothers all. And basically, he was saying this, that illegal immigrants from other countries have inalienable rights, basically God-given. He's borrowing from our Constitution, by the way, to go into any country they want and take whatever resources that country provides to its citizens. And then basically take from them, from that country, anything they want, even if they're not a citizen.
Yeah.
So basically, what Pope Francis is advocating is called stealing.
Yeah.
That's what you do when you go into another country and you're not a citizen and you take the goods and resources from that country. Yeah. That's called stealing because you're not a citizen of that country. So if I go to France and expect France to give me a bunch of free stuff, to give me free medical, to give me free welfare or whatever France provides, and I'm not a citizen, that's on me as far as a thief. I'm nothing but a burglar going into another country and taking their goods and resources that out of their compassion provide. That's taking advantage of the situation. Yeah. And that's wrong. And yet he says doing that is right. Notice how he's contradicting the Bible. Isaiah talked about people like this and talked about when nations get like this, when people call good evil and evil good, right? They flip-flop. It's a 180. He's lawless. You can see the lawlessness in him. And then he continues on. He says, He asserts that there's a common destination of the Earth's goods, and basically, quote, he requires that this principle also be applied to nations, their territories, and their resources. That no one owns any private property, and no nation has the ability to manage their own borders as what belongs to the United States, what belongs to Canada, what belongs to this. He is advocating that, hey, by the way, if the United States has oil, then other countries should have access to that oil. That's what he's saying. And that other people should be able to come and go wherever they want, no borders, and take from that country's natural resources, because the whole planet belongs to everybody. The whole planet belongs to anybody. I don't care if you're in South Wales, or if you're in Australia, or if you're in China. Every part of this earth belongs to you. So you have any right to go anywhere you want and take. Folks, that's called stealing. That principle comes from Satan, okay? That's who's operating through Pope Francis, for him saying crazy stuff like this. Yes. And of course, where have we heard this kind of language? It comes from communism, Marxism, socialism. Yes. So of course, this is why the left loves this guy. This is why anyone who is a leftist loves this guy. He speaks their language, and the language of the left is dragon language, dragon speak. Another thing he has recently said, and this comes from an article from Big League Politics by Shane Trejo. And the title of the article is "The Pope Pushes Globalist Communism as a Solution for COVID-19 Pandemic" in his latest encyclical. Well, here's what came out of this. In the latest encyclical, it's just like these statements he makes, he basically blamed capitalism for the negative impacts of the lockdown policies. Can you believe that? That capitalism was the problem for the pandemic lockdown policies. I don't know how he gets that. Okay, I don't know how he makes that connection, right? I don't get it. I mean, you're talking about a depraved mind. You're talking about a darkened heart. So something's not connecting with this guy. So basically, then he endorses globalist communism, as you know, in the wake of COVID-19, blaming capitalism for the damage caused by disastrous and unnecessary lockdown policies. He claimed in a statement that
good to see you, Jennifer M.
It was the quote-unquote magic theories, I don't even know what he means by that, of market capitalism that failed throughout this crisis. What? It was because no one was working, you fool. No one was working. Because we had these draconian things put on us by leftists and Marxists and communists, and so no one can work. It has nothing to do with market capitalism. If you let market capitalism happen, it would go. The economy would be back to normal. And he wrote that globalism is the answer to the pandemic, as national sovereignty prevents complete and uniform obedience of the masses during a crisis. Oh, so the solution is global governance. Is that what I'm hearing from you? Global governance. So as you can see, folks, why does he attack the free market system? Because the free market system derives itself from the Bible. It's not the best system, but it's the only system that comes closest to making things fair. Again, there's definitely sometimes the issues in capitalism. You have greed that comes in, and you have unbridled capitalism that has no morals with it, right? Like China does. But all in all, the best economic system that comes closest to the biblical principles is the free market system. So guess what he attacks? The free market system, right? And the free market system can be seen in the parable of the talents and the parable of the minas. It's all there. Free market system comes out of the book of Proverbs about working hard, being diligent, whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might according to the scriptures, work as unto the Lord. All those things play into the free market system. So he, of course, attacks it because it's more biblical.
Yeah.
Communism is based on atheism.
Yes.
So is Marxism and socialism. And so he says globalism, which the Bible is against, is the answer to all of this. So you can see that every time this guy speaks, it is dragon language. And I call him a fool, not to be derogatory. I am calling him a fool because according to the Bible, that kind of language, that kind of thinking means that the person is a fool. He is foolish, according to the Bible.
Good to see you, PRD.
He is a fool.
004.
Because he denies theology. He denies the Bible. And denies salvation, denies that Jesus is the only way. Then the Bible has a term for you. You're a fool. And that's what this guy is. But he's an evil fool, a very evil fool.
Yes.
Because he wields a lot of power.
Yes.
The Vatican, by the way, is one of the probably the most lucrative and richest organizations on this planet. No one even knows how much they're worth. So if you wanted to know about power and economics, The Vatican has it. They are extremely powerful. They are extremely
It's a flat
wealthy,
plane of
and
existence.
they have millions and millions of followers who will do exactly what the Pope tells them to do. Now, if you're a Catholic out there and you don't agree with the Pope, good for you. But this should be a wake-up call that the vicar of Christ in your system is talking dragon language. How does a guy get on the top tier of the system of Catholicism speaking this way, and no one removed him? That should tell you that the Catholic system is broken.
Yeah.
It is corrupt.
It's been
Just like I
a
mentioned
long
before,
time.
why are there strings of pedophilers and homosexual priests all running through the Vatican and all running through the entire world of Catholicism among the priests and bishops and cardinals? Why? It's a corrupt system. It believes in a works-based salvation. And now you're seeing the worst of the worst as at the head of this system.
Yeah.
If you're a Catholic, flee.
Yeah.
Flee. I grew up Catholic. You need to get out of that.
Wow.
It's a corrupt system.
Good
You
for
need to
him
believe
that
in
he
Jesus
got
Christ
out
for
of it.
salvation, that he paid
And
for
now he's
your
doing
sins
what he can.
completely. You don't have to do good works. You don't have to do sacraments or anything like that.
Help
You need to
others.
get out of that system. It is a corrupt system. Accept Christ as your Lord and Savior and
Yes.
get saved and leave the Catholic Church.
Yes.
You've got some wickedness, a very wicked man at the helm.
Yes.
And no one's doing anything about it, by the way. They're letting him roll. Think about this guy. He's called Christians, Bible-believing Christians. We're now called fundamentalists, I guess now. He has called us the scourge of the world. Okay? Now I want you to think about that. Pope Francis has committed a war on traditional Catholicism, and basically he castigated Catholics who believe in tradition, believe in the Bible, and refuse to warp the Bible scripture to appease this godless world for creating a mind full of misunderstanding and hatred. He basically said, you Catholics who believe the Bible and believe the traditions of the Catholics are messed up.
Yeah.
You need to stop that.
That's what he's doing.
So not only has he called Bible-believing Christians the scourge, but he's also castigated traditional Catholics as well. This should be a wake-up to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
He attacks Christians. He attacks believers. That tells me right there what kind of guy he is. Think about this. He's not only telling the Catholics, but he's also telling the world that we all need to unite behind one world government, which he has claimed that this is the best solution, and to surrender our freedoms and sovereignty to international interests like the UN or whatever.
Yep.
That's what he has said.
Yep.
Okay. I've never seen anyone say these many things. There's something wrong with this guy. There's something way beyond human about this guy. There's somebody giving him these talking points. Anyway, we go through that, and I want to update you on these latest things because the guy is not changing. And so if we're living in the last days, we're looking for markers. We're looking for things that start adding up, things that start getting into place. And again, we can't be dogmatic and say, yeah, he's the false prophet. But folks, I want you to think about this.
Yes, he is. Yes, Pope Francis
If it walks
is.
like a duck and it quacks like a duck, maybe it is a duck. And again, no one's saying 100% sure, but I think we
yes,
can keep our eyes
I
on
am.
this guy. I think that this guy never stops. He actually gets worse and worse, and he promotes the very thing that the lawless system is promoting, which is preparing the way for the Antichrist, preparing the way for the global government, preparing the way for a one world religion and a one world economic system.
Yes.
And this guy is hook, line, and sinker, all bought in.
I'm telling you, this guy's been watching my shows or something.
So we need to be aware of this. We need to warn our Catholic friends about all of this. Maybe this will shake them up and realize, wait a second, what are you a part of? And I think going forward, we have our eyes on these things. We notice this. This is not something to be ignored. What Pope Francis is doing is extremely evil. I believe the guy is evil. I believe he's a biblical fool. I do not believe the guy is saved. Because if you were saved, you could not say those kinds of things. He doesn't confess Jesus as Lord. He does not. And so I'm telling you, there's something wrong with this guy. And so
he's the false
we need to be aware of it. We need to be
Official
prepared
false
for
prophet.
what's coming, because eventually what is coming is the buildup of the one world religion.
Yep, exactly.
And eventually somebody's going to head that up. Could it be him? Yeah, it very well could be him. So we look at that with some speculation, but something evil is really going on. But folks, that wraps things up. Just a couple of announcements before we go. If you haven't subscribed to.
All right. So there was that. And I hope I didn't lose. Oh, man. I had some other windows saved that I guess I accidentally clicked on. All right. Well, anyway, we're gonna watch this today from Shaking My Head. Just came out today. It's already got like 5,000 views. And this is pretty good stuff right here.
Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan has joined a growing fury in parts of the Muslim world, demanding a boycott on French goods. It's over images being displayed in France of the Prophet Muhammad, which some Muslims consider blasphemous. Erdogan, who has a history of fraught relations with France's President Macron, said the country was pursuing an anti-Islam agenda. In Bangladesh, protesters unfurled placards with a caricature of the French leader and the words, "Macron is the enemy of peace." In the Middle East, a Jordanian supermarket began removing French products from its shelves on Sunday in what was said to be a protest against comments by Macron on, quote, Islamist separatism. Shopkeepers at the supermarket covered up shelves alongside signs explaining why. The spat follows a knife attack outside a French school on October 16th, in which an 18-year-old man of Chechen origin beheaded Samuel Paty, a 47-year-old middle school teacher who'd shown pupils cartoons of Muhammad. French officials said the beheading was an attack on the country's core value of freedom of expression, including the right to publish the cartoons. Macron has said he would redouble efforts to stop conservative Islamic beliefs subverting French values.
The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam.
Do you think Islam is at war with the West?
I think Islam hates us. There's something there that there's a tremendous hatred there. There's a tremendous hatred. We have to get to the bottom of it. There is an unbelievable hatred of us.
In Islam itself?
You're going to have to figure that out, okay? You'll get another Pulitzer, right? But you're going to have to figure that out. But there is a tremendous hatred, and we have to be very vigilant. We have to be very careful, and we can't allow people coming into this country who have this hatred of the United States.
I guess the question is,
and of people that are not Muslim.
I guess the question is there a war between the West and radical Islam, or is there a war between the West and Islam
It's
itself?
radical, but it's very hard to define. It's very hard to separate because you don't know who's who.
I know there have been difficulties these last few years. I know that the trust that binds the United States and Turkey has been strained. And I know that strain is shared in many places where the Muslim faith is practiced. So let me say this as clearly as I can. The United States is not and will never be at war with Islam.
In a letter dated 22 January 1870, Mazzini wrote to Pike. Now, Albert Pike is this high mason who wrote the manual, if you like, of Scottish Freemasonry. He said the following: "We must allow all of the federations to continue just as they are. It must appear as things are as they were in the beginning, with their systems, their central authorities, and diverse modes of correspondence between high grades of the same right, organized as they are at present, but we must create a super right, which will remain unknown, to which we will call those Masons of high degree, whom we shall select. With regard to our brothers in Masonry, these men must be pledged to the strictest secrecy. Through this supreme right, we will govern all Freemasonry, which will become the one international center, the more powerful because its direction will be unknown." Now, Albert Pike wrote a letter to Mazzini, and that was dated August 15, 1871, in which he propagated that there should be a world order, a one order where all nations are under the control of one central organization. And in order to achieve this, they planned, and there are numerous quotes for this, so I've put a number on the screen because
Take
some
care,
will say, I don't
Fidelis, our
trust this, I
frat.
don't trust that, I don't trust
We
the
love you
other.
too. Much
There
love.
are references down there. There are references
Have a great
up
day.
there. There will be references in other slides, so it
And
comes
weekend.
from different sources. He said, and this was, by the way, on display in the British Museum and could be seen there until it was taken away. The First World War, to overthrow the power of the Tsars in Russia, protector of orthodoxy, and bring about an atheistic communistic state. Did that happen? Yes. Now that was written long before this event. Long before this event. This was written in 1871, but this war broke out in 1914. The Second World War, that's also written long before the event, to originate between Great Britain and Germany, to strengthen communism as antithesis to the Judeo-Christian culture, and bring about a Zionist state in Israel. Did it achieve this objective? Yes. In fact, after this war, Israel, in its present form, was reinstated under the protection of Britain. And then, interestingly enough, a Third World War, a Middle Eastern war involving Judaism and Islam and spreading internationally. That's fascinating. Is that on the cards, or what do you think? Certainly sounds like we are on track. Well, here's another quote, just in case people don't like that quote. Mazzini with Pike developed a plan for 3 world wars so that eventually every nation would be willing to surrender its national sovereignty to a world government. The first war was to end the Tsarist regime in Russia, the second to allow the Soviet Union to control Europe, the Third World War was to be in the Middle East between Muslim and Jews and would result in Armageddon. Interesting. Now, how were they going to do it? Let's read what Albert Pike wrote about these wars and how they were going to be unleashed. He wrote, quote, "We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheist," so the destroyer and the atheist, "and we will provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism. Origin of savagery and the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the minority of revolutionaries will exterminate these destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, will receive the pure light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer. The destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time." Wow, what a clever plan. So you rub the two systems which you create up against the other. You create atheism as an antithesis to the Judeo-Christian culture. You have these two clash until they rub each other up. And then out of that, you will get a new world order where you have a new religion, which is far more esoteric and actually honors Satan. Isn't that a rather clever plan? Well, it's very successful. That is why Ordo ab Cao is the verse, if you like, that Freemasonry uses. This is one of their documents, remember, that I photographed in a Masonic lodge.
Donald Trump is doubling down on claims he made over the weekend that he saw thousands of Muslim Americans in New Jersey celebrating after the September 11th terror attacks. Trump first made the remarks at a rally Saturday and then stood by them Monday night at an event in Columbus, Ohio.
During a speech recently, I said that I saw in parts of New Jersey, Jersey City, but parts of New Jersey, I saw people getting together and in fairly large numbers celebrating as the World Trade Center was coming down, killing thousands of people, thousands and thousands of people. People are still dying over what happened to the World Trade Center, and they're dying a terrible death.
Thousands didn't die.
And I saw them on television, and I read about it on the internet, and I read about it So they said, oh, we can't find anything, Mr. Trump. The reporters are calling all day, all night. They want to find out, did Trump make a mistake? So I have some good people. And they checked and they checked. And believe me, it's being cleared off, plenty of stuff. They don't like that because that's not good for the liberal cause, right? But they don't like it. And lo and behold, I start getting phone calls in my office by the hundreds that they were there and they saw this take place.
So what do you think of my Trump home mattress collection by Serta? Finally, the same luxury and comfort I demand in my hotels.
Oh, they'll never count sheep again.
Listen, why don't you come work for me?
What do you have in mind?
Something you were born to do.
Welcome to room 9.
Looking good, number 9, looking good.
Where's your dignity?
Thanks for being here, everybody. I just wanted to pause for a second and do a shout out. Good to see you, Jennifer, Helen, Dominic, PRD, Tobin, Silverin, Starting to read over. Let's see. Everybody else that just listened, Patrick. Scrolling. Brendella's are flat's gone, but yes, good to see you. Voynich, maybe still here. Good to see you, brother. And anybody else just listening that is just listening, not chatting. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Tara. Nova. Yeah, we had a Rockefeller as a vice president. It's crazy.
I'm not gonna hurt you, Natalie. Remember me. Remember who I am.
That's a Freemason symbol.
Was Coronado in the Masons?
One ring to rule
rule them all.
Maybe one of these Red Indians wandered into Whitechapel and indulged his natural inclinations.
Occult forces that work in the shadows in this world at work. It's similar to money magic. Money itself is sigil magic. The New World Order put its plans on paper and they called it money. Millions of people around the world are carrying this around in their pockets. Money itself is a primary example of this sigil magic, lesser magic. So it's interesting that they chose to place this imagery on a coin. Once again, we're back to money. And here they are showing us their plans on this currency. From a very basic standpoint, when I first looked at this imagery, I couldn't help but notice, starting from the base of the symbol as it works up, you see the sword itself starts to disintegrate into all of these different symbols.
Source code.
What's
Ones
most
and zeros.
interesting
Look at
is
that.
the symbol they
Holy
chose at the
crap.
top, or it's the symbol.
Get out of here. Why would they put source code up there? Ones and zeros. Sorcery. Wow. Do you see that? Oh my goodness. You got the vaccines. You got fake satellite, maybe 5G crap. Just robot looking gears. I don't know. Yeah, but that ones and zeros, sorcery, source code. That's telling.
At the end of the road. All of these symbols leading to the dove of peace, peace and security, peace and safety. But what comes after that? Saturn. Some of you may not understand the significance of this, but Saturn represents Satan.
Yeah.
It goes back to Rome. They worshipped Saturn, celebrating Saturnalia, and the Greeks worshipped Kronos. Same deity. Both represent Satan, which leads to the black cube. You also need to understand about the black cube of Saturn and the connection to the Jewish priests who wear the tefillin or the black cube on their foreheads. It's also interesting to note that we find the black cube in Mecca. And here you see the Muslims walking circles or rings around the black cube of Saturn, Satan. So leading up to this peace and safety and afterwards Saturn or Satan, we find that the sword guard is wrapped in prayer beads. Prayer beads only serve one purpose, and that's to count repetitive prayers. Both Islam and Catholicism share their love of prayer beads, which came from pagan traditions.
Yep.
On the guard of the sword in the middle, we can see the Babylonian sun wheel. And this goes back to Rome again and pagan worship. It's also known as the Wheel of the Year. And then we have the satellite dish with Wi-Fi and binary code. This seems to reflect our current state of Big Brother surveillance in some ways. And next we have the gears. The gears go back to time, and that goes back to Saturn. And we also have a syringe.
Okay, hold up now. Hold the heck up. Okay, if he's talking about the gears right here are time related, and then you've got the ones and zeros right there, folks. They are spelling out that they are using sorcery to change things related to time, or to go back in time, whatever. But to make the changes, the supernatural changes that we're seeing, because we all come from God's source, and they are using sorcery to manipulate the source code, and that's how the scripture changes are done, and the Mandela effect itself is done by them using sorcery and manipulating time and space and matter. Wow. I'm gonna have to get into that more detail. This first time I've even seen this coin.
To represent the vax scheme for their crown virus. Moving on from there, we have the date palm tree. And it's interesting, the Latin name for the date palm tree is the Phoenix dactylifera. When you look at all of the symbols on the sword, and so many of them have to do with technology, you may have been wondering to yourself, why is there a palm tree there? And I think I found the answer. It's not just a palm tree, it's a date palm. What's most interesting about this is that the Latin term for the date palm is actually the Phoenix dactylifera. I believe that's why they put the date palm on the sword among all of the other symbols showing us their end game. The eagle, sometimes the double-headed eagle, also the phoenix, is a symbol of great power and endurance. The Romans, the House of Habsburg, the House of Rothschild, the Nazis, and the United States have all
Okay,
used
take care,
this
Jennifer.
symbol. But more specifically to the phoenix itself, we find that symbolism popping up all over the place. The phoenix as a symbol itself has become a very common symbol for the New World Order or for this beast system. This last decade has seen a real explosion in symbolism on everything. Movies,
Out of the
TV
ashes, the
shows,
phoenix will
corporate
rise.
logos.
Yes, we know.
All of it is coming to light now. In this beast system, the phoenix is a symbol of chaos, total destruction, and then a rebirthing, a rising from the ashes. And this rising from the ashes, this phoenix,
The
is
rebuilding
the NWO
of the
itself, or that final Antichrist
towers
beast system.
into one.
But as we find with many symbols, they have multiple meanings. It's interesting to note that in Islam, they view the date palm as the tree of life. But in Judaism, the palm represents peace and plenty. And of course, there's also that connection between the tree of life and the Kabbalah. Also, the palm tree was a sacred sign of Apollo in ancient Greece. So of course we find Apollo. Apollo is the sun god. He's another representation of Lucifer, the sun god. Sun god, Lucifer, Satan, Saturn. Something else to consider, finding that palm tree symbol among all of the symbols of technology. Perhaps it's a nod to how they've been placing these 5G towers in these palm trees all around America. Also, looking back on the sword, we find satellite, 5G, Wi-Fi, NASA. And all of those symbols are leading up to the dove that represents peace. I believe this harkens back to what the Bible says. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes.
It's coming.
And lastly, we find all of this symbolism connected back to another example of the occult, or hidden in plain sight.
Colorado.
The Denver International Airport murals. They've since covered up the Denver Airport murals, but you can still find pictures of them. These murals are another example of hidden in plain sight, also of lesser magic and predictive programming. So here we find this figure, and he has the eagle on his hat. In some ways, he's resembling a Nazi or fascism. He has the same sword from the coin, and we also find the dove here. Of course, in this mural, this figure is killing the dove or destroying peace. Right here on this mural, we can see the effects of the phoenix. Total chaos, total destruction, the death of peace, and then after peace comes Satan or Saturn. Just like money, just like all the symbols we see in movies and TV shows and corporate logos, their plans have been in front of our face all along. Steadily and more quickly now over this last decade, we're seeing all of these pieces come together and fall into place. Everything is moving quickly now towards the end game of this beast system. Total control and total enslavement of humanity. So now
Beaner Fair doesn't agree with me, but the price sure is right.
So perfect. Amanda Beckett is single. And on the night of this party, a party I'll be attending, a party she'll be attending, it's all falling into place. It's like, das einen am Leben.
Make a deal with me, kid. You can have the car and everything that goes along with it.
Move to the touch. Easy, Tiger. This ruby.
If this wouldn't just destroy Deputy Prime Minister Strong, it would bring down the whole government.
I'm trying to read it. Okay.
It's too many diamonds. That's too bright. That's too bright. Go anyway.
Oh, Mason, are you a Mason? Of course I am.
Okay.
The secret serum. Well, you might as well put your pinky out when you drink your drink.
That was Shaq right there.
Pinky out. You know the secret serum?
Stop it.
Shifty Shaq.
I wish you would die.
most extreme and utter region of the human mind. Hell, Natalie. We're in hell.
None of this had happened.
I'm so glad Jesus saved my soul. Oh, I'm so glad Jesus saved my soul. You know, I'm so glad. Oh, Jesus saved my soul.
Yes, he did.
Well, he saved my soul, made me whole. My heart shall change. I'm so glad about in my heart shall change. I'm so glad about.
So, pretty good stuff there. I think that we watched there. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I was intrigued. So let's see here. Okay. So yes, good to see you guys, man. It is a beautiful day here. I hope it's a beautiful day where you're at. It's chilly, little chilly out there in Florida. It is. Let me see. See what we got up to. It's 61. Feels like 59. It says, and we're supposed to get up to 67 as a high. that's cold here. You know, most people think that's cold, especially like South Florida. If they get down that, if South Florida gets down to 60 or below, they're like, they're freaking out. We can handle pretty much anything because I'm in Northwest Florida and we get it all, but we get hot and cold and sometimes snow, but very little snow when we get it. But anyway, so yeah, but our 10-day forecast is looking really pretty. No rain and just in the either in the low 70s pretty much. Yep. Monday will be 66. Yeah. But then back up on November 8th, the day I was supposed to get my YouTube channel back, my main YouTube, it's going up to 80, so it'll be 80 that day. So that's Florida. We could be sunny and 80, 85 on Thanksgiving here. You know, I've seen it before. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a cold winter overall. All right. So Las Vegas, also 60 degrees is a cold front. Right. My mom lived in Vegas off and on for she lived there half the year for like 10 years. She'd lived there half the year and other half in Virginia. But she's also lived in Vegas, I think, full time for she lived a couple years, just straight full time. But yeah, she definitely knows her way around Vegas. But she hasn't been, thank goodness, in a few years. The last time she came to visit, she was on her way to Las Vegas, and she had already said she was never going back out there again. But my stepdad talked her into it again, and I begged her not to go. And I even ended our visit short because I just didn't want her to go so badly. I felt like it was just a terrible time and to go, and that she'd already made up her mind she wasn't going to go back anymore. And then so sadly, but also good because they survived. But they did they were sleeping in their camper, and a 18-wheeler big truck hit their camper and totaled the camper, but they survived with just scratches, bruises, remarkably. But still, and I don't even know if that was, it wasn't really even that I was, but something was a lot of things were telling me they shouldn't go, and then of course that happened. But anyway, they don't go out there anymore, thank goodness. Oh, I missed Tennessee, PRD. See, I was a fool 7 years ago, and chasing a girl. Well, I was already I'd already caught her at that point. I moved down here to move to get my own place with to get a place with my girlfriend that I met while I was on vacation here, and I should have stayed in Tennessee for sure, but it was just another time that I went against God's will, and I paid for it in many ways since then. But I've also been blessed since then for my actions since. I think. But anyway, so let's see, where are we going from here? Like I said, I had some other windows with a couple other videos I wanted to share. And let me just see real quick if it's in the history. See it. So if y'all didn't see this was good. I should play this.
Florida homeowner. During this video. Now, not to sound too superficial, but I don't like to smell. It's going around infecting millions of people. It's highly there's a terrible disease going around infecting millions of people. It's highly contagious, creating the worst pandemic the world's ever seen. If we don't act now, it's going to keep spreading, potentially infecting everyone. The disease is a mental condition called intelligence. Intelligence is a very contagious disease spreading around the globe at unprecedented rates.
It's not a globe.
Threatening to destroy the world as we know it. Symptoms of intelligence include thinking for yourself, elevated levels of self-responsibility, nuanced thought, the desire for freedom, acts of bravery, and an intolerance to being controlled by fear. We don't know much about intelligence, how it works, or how it spreads, but there's very strong evidence it's easily transmitted through ideas, self-expression, and human connection. Together, we can slow the spread of intelligence, but we all must practice strict obedience to the following guidelines. Socially distance yourself from critical thought. Sanitize your mind with the news. Rely on other people to tell you what's true for you. And wear a face suffocator to reduce the amount of oxygen going to your brain. Additionally, we'll need to permanently shut down the economy to fight this dangerous infection with the weapons of poverty and despair. We're also working with our partners at the social media giants who are strongly committed to ending intelligence by censoring free speech on their platforms. If you find yourself accidentally thinking for yourself or think you may have come in contact with someone infected with intelligence, please self-quarantine in front of the news for 14 days and seek the medical guidance of your local computer programmer. With this infection, it's also advisable to put your entire trust in the hands of people
Hey, it's
who
143.
have been found guilty in
here.
antitrust lawsuits, and to outsource your entire thinking, well-being, and choices to people who aren't you. It's your social duty to help out and do your part. If we all work together, we can rid the world of intelligence once and for all.
144.
One more thing, you beautiful weirdo. I want to thank Primally Pure Deodorant for sponsoring this video. Now, not to sound too superficial, but I don't like to smell bad. That's why I've had such a big problem with natural deodorants. A lot of them look good on paper, but in reality, function horribly, and I end up smelling badly. And I also don't like to poison myself in order to not smell badly. That's why I refuse to use commercial deodorants. That's why Primally Pure has stepped in and solved a massive smelling problem for me.
Okay. And here is my poor little channel, my poor little main channel that I can't go live on. Hopefully again someday, but you see 2 months now already, folks. That was my last live stream. The Real Truth, the Real Talk Truth Show, Vaccines or Voodoo. And then CensorTube AK has shut me down until that was okay. Well, yeah, that was the last show, but they just put this one I uploaded about being shut down, not being able to go live. But this was actually the last video. I just don't have it in right order. Yes, yes, yes. I did want to show y'all. I've got a video. See, you see my count here. It's anywhere from 150 to 200, 300. You know, some of them have 400, whatever. But I have one that's going, I guess, viral on a small level. And I'm gonna have to maybe watch it again to see why people love it so much. But it's probably not even people in our community or whatever. But anyway, so let's see if we can find that real quick. Just no, it wouldn't be this far back. Huh. Well, it's got 8,000 views. And I'm like, holy crap, that's a lot on my channel. I've only got maybe a couple more that have more than that, videos, individual videos. But yeah, so 8,000. Let me just see. I don't know how I can find it. Yeah, I'm not logged in. But anyway, yeah, so that's a lot compared to what I normally get on my videos. 8,000 is a lot of. Maybe it is still down here. No. Oh yeah, yeah, okay. So bear with me. I don't know. Maybe I'll find it later. Let's see. Here's what I did for a long time was chemtrails and these pink sunsets. I didn't grow up seeing pink and purple sunsets. I promise you that. These are new. But you can go back and watch old movies that you saw years ago, and they have added these pink purple sunsets to the movies now. They're in there just like you can see chemtrails too that are in old movies that they weren't in before. It's weird. So it does make it plausible that there's some kind of parallel something going on. But yeah. You can see just 2 years ago I was only getting a few views on these chemtrail videos, and then I started going a different route, and I hardly ever even make chemtrail videos anymore. Really not. I'll make them and then I don't upload them. But all right, anyway, but yeah, and then it's just music after that. I should have kept scrolling. Then it's just music, different stuff, but mainly music. Um, right here, this is the band I used to work for, Steel Magnolia. This video here has 12,000 views on it. So that's, I think, my number one video as far as many, views on it. And the reason there's so many views on it is because people were checking out Megan Lindsay when she was on the The Voice. She finished in second place on The Voice. She was on Blake Shelton's team. Anyway, they're good friends of mine. They split up, um, you know, professionally and they together. They held a record. I don't know if it's still good now, but they held a record of being the first um, female, the first uh, male female duel. Like the highest, they had got the highest on the charts or something. I don't know. One of their singles did by a dual, a male female sing group. Sorry. Anyway, uh, sand sculptures, on and on and on. All right, till you eventually get to when I first started uploading 10 years ago. I've been on here 11 years, but a lot of music. That's me. But anyway, we may not get this channel back if they decide. Lots of residue too. Don't forget about all the residue videos I made of when I was hunting for residue every day. Oh boy, lots of that there. All right, so let's just hope and pray I get my channel back. It's been stuck on 104,599 for like a month now. This number has not gone up yet. When I look at my numbers in the studio, like last month, even with me not going live, I had like 11,000 minutes of watch time on my videos. So this they're just refusing to add this. So it's gonna take a jump at some point, or not, maybe not. But I definitely have more than 104,000 views. But anyway, it is what it is. My Twitter. If you're not subscribed to me, if you're on Twitter, let me just show you that. I need to start tweeting more, but I've been on Twitter. This is not my first Twitter. Been on Twitter since before it was cool. Then after it was cool, everything in between. I've been on there for longer than I have on, or about as long as I've been on YouTube. I want to say. I don't know. I've been on there since it came out. Let's put it that way. I used to be Stand Up, Speak Up on Twitter, and I probably don't have any followers now, but I think my name, my account's still on there. Yep. So this is my old Twitter. See, joined in 2009. So that's before. Or no, that's the same. Yeah, same time I joined YouTube. Then yeah, because I've been on YouTube 11 years. So this was at 168. I had a lot more than 168 followers, but who's gonna keep following? You know. And this was what I stood for: stand up and speak up against government corruption and the New World Order, one world government, resist socialism, fascist agendas financed by corrupt banks and drug companies. So, yep, that was me, Tommy NTN, and stand up, speak up. At stand up, speak up. And I'm always saying that. Stand up, speak up against tyranny, against evil. Right. And that wasn't my first, this was not my first Twitter, so I was on there before September of 2009 with another one. But all right, so I really appreciate you guys always tuning in. And hopefully I'll get this channel back. Here's the one that we're on currently right here. And I've got like 30 some videos on it now. I started it in July. I never wanted to start another YouTube channel. You know, I had that Tommy Tell the Truth for 11 years. And then you see here, I've got 144, and even that has been stuck for a few days, I think, on that number. But you know, YouTube plays with the numbers or holds them, whatever. Yeah, I don't have anything written here. I should write something. Do. Yeah, here we are. All right, so I'm putting this around here and find something to do something. Conspiracy Castle is live. That dude's a trip. The guy, Alex. Not much what's going on. I'm here. Alright, so let's see here. Hey, good people. Hey, Truth Seeker 69. I'm probably going to end up wrapping this up, but I will, I always will extend the show if anybody wants to join me and talk about anything. I especially the Pope. If anybody's got anything to say about the Pope, and about my last video yesterday about the Archbishop, one of the heads of the Catholic, religion, if you will, calling out Pope Francis as the dark Pope, the false prophet. That was great to see that. Yep. So anyway, there's the StreamYard. If anybody wants to join me for a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, you're welcome to pop in and say hello and whatnot. It's good to see you, Jen. I'm really saddened that I didn't get up to Flattoberfest to see all you guys and be a part of that. I did a show during that on us who wanted to be there or wish we were there. But I'm glad you guys got to get together, so many of you. And by the way, Jen, yesterday I shared a clip from the movie Deja Vu, and that's something I'd like to talk about. If anybody would like to talk about Deja Vu, the movie, or the actual, thing of Deja Vu, we've all had moments where we've said that, wow, I've had Deja Vu about something, relive a moment, whatever. But I watched the movie Deja Vu last night with my sister, and there was a part she had told me before I even watched it with her, because she had started watching it, where the guys are explaining how they are able to look back and in the movie and see the person before they died, see what they were doing, even in their house. The guy says that it's a flat universe, so we're able to fold it over on itself and create a wormhole, and that's how they manipulate time, space, and matter. And then, like we saw earlier with that coin that has the gears of time and the source code right there, showing that they are using sorcery to make the Mandela effect, changes and manipulate time, space, matter. They probably haven't perfected it. Maybe they have. I don't know, but that is their goal, and we see it everywhere. And I didn't even realize it, guys. But there is so much CERN symbolism and CERN talk in that movie in Deja Vu, and they're of course using a collider to send Denzel Washington back. So I mean, you can't make this stuff up, and they've been, they built. It took 50, 60 years for them to build CERN, and from when they first started it, I on it like flies on crap, and I've been watching for, not the first time, I'm only, but when I was a kid and I first learned about CERN and their goal of recreating the Big Bang Theory, yeah, I took notice and followed it, ever since. All right, anyway. Hey, Bolt Gun, how's it going, brother?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I'm still just like amazed from yesterday that the confirmation I got, not from the Archbishop of that himself, that part, but from God. Just I mean, just man, I felt such a presence of God and the Holy Spirit. Like confirming me that that Pope Francis is the false prophet, the official false prophet of the end times, and it just, man, it was
Yeah, have
crazy.
you ever seen them videos that somebody's got? I can't remember who's got that stuff posted now. I saw it about a year ago, but where the Pope goes up and kisses them kids in them wheelchairs or touches them and stuff, and they act like they're terrified. Have you ever seen them reactions out of them handicapped kids?
I can't say that I have, no.
Yeah, there's a video out there on YouTube somewhere of the Pope, and these kids are, man, I don't know what they've got, but they're man, what am I going to want to say here? They're like this. They're mentally handicapped, okay? And when he touches them, they have a bad reaction just to his touch.
Wow.
And yeah, I feel the same way. I'm pretty.
I just got the heebie-jeebies there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, I mean, you look at that auditorium that they got. That's a snake's head. There's absolutely no doubt about it. The sundial. Yeah, that main courtyard out there's a sundial counting down. It's got that obelisk in the middle of it.
Yeah, Voynich, yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, there should definitely be more evidence of it there. Um, they have those huge tunneling machines that can tunnel their way through, anything. But where would they move all that material to? Say, I don't know. So I agree. I just maybe it was already there. Maybe. Yeah. Sorry. So how's your weather, man?
It's not very good here. It's been overcast, nasty, and raining on and on.
That sucks. No good. No good.
And that rained all day yesterday.
Right.
It's typical weather for here this time of year.
And the garbage man is here. Yay, get the garbage. Oh, he's getting recycling.
Yeah, that stuff all over in the Vatican and everything. That matches, daggone it, Mike, he talked about it, the hill, the Mystery Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
Where it sets in the hills and everything, that all matches up over there for the Vatican being its own entity.
Yeah, it's
like God's Sea Warrior. That's who it is, Mike. That's it. Yeah.
I wonder. I don't think he's subscribed to this channel, because I don't think I've ever seen him on this backup. But he's a great guy. He's a good friend. I hope still. But yeah, and I've been on his channel. He's been on mine,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the most popular theory is that the Vatican is the that, but it's the whole world system, the whole beast system, the whole new world order system. And so it's really worldwide. The whole Mystery Babylon. I would say, but Hey, yeah, Patrick, he's saying hi to everybody. Pointed, he said hi to you and Pointage and Tobin.
Yeah, I
Patrick,
can go over. I can look. I'll put my glasses on. I can read the chat. The chat on my phone's so small. I got glasses on.
yeah, that's what I do. Is I have my phone open too um, during the show, so I can. Yeah, welcome back, Patrick, and you can join us if you'd like to, Patrick. Um, so anyway, I had a video on treating your body like a temple too. Do you feel like that since we're at the end of the church age, um, that we shouldn't, use treat our bodies more like a temple, and and then therefore gather together with true believers instead of in a church building where you know everybody's got you know it's gotten out of hand and it's like a nightclub now.
Yeah,
Churches.
that's exactly right, man. These churches are nightclubs. The bigger, the fancier, the bigger the
Yeah.
parking lot, the more lights, man, the more glass, dude. And
Anything goes.
yeah, and does it. Anything goes. And they got their descriptions of what's in the Bible and talking about what you're supposed to eat and what you aren't. If we do treat our body like a temple, we're healthy. I think we should have been doing it all along, and we should have been eating the things that we should have in the Bible and stuff. Because I know after I hate to use the word awake. It's more aware. You know, I changed my diet and just man. I talked to my wife about this a good bit, and everybody refer to it. It's a Holy Spirit. That it guides you in absolutely everything. You'll change your diet and your way of looking at everything, and the things
Oh
that you
yeah.
want, the stuff that you used to think that you needed, and everything will change. And all you start becoming, you become healthier physically, spiritually. Uh, I don't know. It seems like things flow a lot better with the understanding or being aware.
Right. Jennifer, anybody's welcome to join. I forgot. I didn't put the link back out there, but there's the link if anybody does want to join me and Bolt Gun. Um, yeah, I agree with you exactly. Um, what do you think? What what do you think that now with like this Archbishop coming out, and many others coming out saying that Pope Francis is the false prophet. I guess we know how it plays out, so they won't. But I mean, wouldn't you think that Catholics would to get there's so many of them. Wouldn't you think they would stand up and say, hey, yeah, let's get rid of this Pope because he we see he's the dark Pope. But they're so delusioned, I guess, already, even by the messed up Catholic religion in the first place. But besides Pope, Francis being the head of it. But
Yeah, I tend to believe that's what the next war is going to be over. I mean, we've already had it over everything else, and if they get everybody divided on this religion thing, and they got groups of Christians, that's one thing, man. A Christian in this country, just what is a Christian? Because Catholics consider themselves Christians, and like I said the other night, I literally raised my children, growing up around them. Besides those two nuns that I can tell you about, that's from the old order Catholics.
Yeah.
From my experiences while I was in the service and out of these little canal towns that we live in here, I told them that to be wary of them. If you find out somebody's a Catholic, a practicing Catholic, man, you be wary of them.
Yeah.
You keep an extra close eye on them. Yeah.
Right.
They
Well,
have to be able to do whatever in the hell they want and go sit in a confession box and get it all taken care of. Man, that's a setup for a disaster there.
Yeah. Yeah. And the praising Mary and all the idolism, all the all the stuff that they.
Yeah, they do exactly what they're told not to.
Yeah. So I've known since I was a little kid that it was false. But so Yeah, but it doesn't. So it doesn't surprise you neither, I guess, that the millions of Catholics don't say, let's get this Pope out of here. They're not. it's
Right, there's
it's
the same brainwashing within that church that you've got outside of it too. But yeah, I think that's how they'll get the next thing fired off, because with him waking up. That really did surprise me yesterday, that somebody that high up in the church
yeah.
would speak out against it.
hmm Yeah, he knew what he was doing. I mean, now like I said, he's got his own problems because he's still in the Catholic. He needs to denounce that, denounce and get a real relationship with God and Jesus. But and I hope he does, but and he might be thrown out by if it's possible by Pope Francis now for for him attacking him. Yeah, but who knows? So anyway, um,
He could be controlled opposition also.
yeah, no,
Can't forget.
I'm aware of that. Yeah, of course, definitely. But see, either way, they're putting out there, the plans getting put out there, you know, and that's like the laws of the universe. They have to, one way or another, put out there what their plans are, and he laid it out there, and so now everybody knows. It's just how are we going to react? Are you going to condone it, support it? Are you going to stand up and speak up about it? I for one have felt moved by God and the Holy Spirit to definitely stand up and speak up about the official false prophet Pope Francis, and I've been calling him the false prophets for a few years or more now. Wasn't for a while. I know, and I have been convinced, and now many other watchmen on the wall, to pastors, to this, that, and the other are seeing it and calling it too, including people in his own religion, his own
Yeah.
thing.
Hey, and something else, you get to talking to these people that it seems like they pick us out and go off on us. That we have trouble with trying to wake up.
Mhm.
When they get to spouting off about their freedom, ask them, what are you wanting to be free from? And you can watch them for the first time in their life start to think. And usually what they end up telling you and what their answers are is that they want to be free from God. They don't even know it. But what they'll tell you, that their freedoms that they want, it'll be freedom from God.
Mm-hmm.
Won't be freedom from their government. Won't be freedom from tyranny and all that. That's what most people that are your true Christians, your believers, your followers, the ones that are aware, they want the freedom from the government.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who else try to think of who else is oppressing you right now.
Who else is oppressing you?
Yeah.
Besides
Other
the
than
government.
your government.
Yeah, it's groups that want you to believe or condone their evil sins and stuff. I don't even think I have to list them, but there are many groups that are going to band together in this end times and persecute Christians, including burning them in churches too. Or at least people that identify as Christians, I should say.
I think the ones that's got these big church buildings and the organized, what we're saying, the ones that call themselves Christians,
Yeah.
and aren't, like what Tobin's saying here, anyone that tries to be Christ-like, follows Christ's rules, that's a Christian. You don't put a church up, put in and write Christian church on the outside of it. That's what Christian is. It's actually following his rules and laws and trying to be Christ-like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the ones that's in the big box churches and stuff like that's going to be the ones that's applying the land looking for the true Christian.
Mm-hmm.
That's your majority.
Yeah. So I got a love, I got a heart love, whatever, on my comment that I left on that the video yesterday that I shared before the Archbishop, that the woman about said her name, but I guess she doesn't want her name out there. But Anyway, she was the one that that alerted me and others that the Archbishop had called out the Pope as the Dark Pope. But anyway, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so I went on that video, and said that I believe Pope Francis is the official false prophet of the end times, and then I put that I believe 2021 through 2028 is the last seven, the tribulation period, and she hearted on it. So maybe she'll come over and see my videos and whatever. But anyway, she's the one that works, friends with, and works with, makes videos with Starfire Tour, who is the scientist who claims to be the one that basically discovered the Mandela effect, though she hates the name Mandela effect, and she calls it time shift markers or something like that. I don't know, whatever. But
Hey, you remember when's the two witnesses supposed to be killed and lay in the street?
Sure. We should talk about
When
that. Sure. So what'll happen is once the 7-year peace treaty is finalized, and it's all in the works now, of course. Yeah. And then the tribulation period starts. At some point in Jerusalem, the two witnesses will appear, and it'll be like Elijah and Moses, or whatever. It'll be somebody that was from the past that ascended to heaven, that didn't die, just ascended. And they, the only part that that bugs me about it is that they will be able to draw down fire from earth onto people or whatever. Now I wonder if that's we're supposed to like dig into that, and it might not be just like I don't know, it might be from a drone, it might, I don't know who, whatever, it might be something modern more, but maybe it is just them being able to, I don't know, call down fire and burn somebody or whatever. But so yeah, they're gonna come and preach, the gospel pretty much, and the Antichrist, when he comes on the scene, fully, he will kill them, and they will lie dead in the streets of Jerusalem for 3 days, their bodies untouched, and then they will rise again. So everybody will know at that point, that there was something supernatural happening there.
But that is the beginning of that's the beginning of the 7 years. We got
No. Well,
that's what I.
it's not like the first thing, but it's in the yeah, it's definitely during the first 3.5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was.
Yeah, it's okay. So let's see. We have. I thought I had it written down there, but. Yeah, I should probably look that up, but I thought it was maybe in Revelation 13, but yeah, that's definitely was a good question. And that's another way that we'll definitely know. We'll know, right off the bat. Um, I think who the two witnesses are. We'll recognize them on the scene. I mean, they're not going to say, "Hi, I'm Elijah and Moses," or whoever it's going to be. But
Yeah, that's why I bring it up, because it's kind of a marker that I'm holding, so that I know, I know the time. I mean,
and there's plenty that are claiming to be the two witnesses already. I mean, seriously, there's people that are literally out there claiming to be the two witnesses.
Yeah, I don't.
Of course, there's people who claim to be Jesus too, but I'm not. There's no, they're not here yet. They're not. If they're here, they're not started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like usually white people that's doing this too, and after becoming aware, whatever you choose to call it, a few years back, looking into it, I'm pretty sure that like Moses and Jesus, them guys are darker complected. I'm not going to say that they're actually what we consider black, but I'm pretty sure that they're not white like we are.
Mhm. So,
And that's
okay.
my.
All right. So here we go. Chapter 11, verse 3, and I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,203 score days. So yeah, that is the first part of the tribulation period. And these are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth. That's right, it's out of their mouth, not out of the sky. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you
I
ever
don't know
see
why I was thinking the sky, but
there was a guy there a while back lining the Twin Towers up as symbolically fitting the 2 witnesses that they left them lay for 3 days before they started cleaning them up and stuff like that. But he was doing it symbolically.
Really?
Yeah, and fire came out of their mouth. It was all symbolically it lined up, but I don't know.
Well, that's interesting because that Reverend Khan also lines up 9/11 up symbolically with prophecy. So, but
They say it's bad enough, Tommy. We're really digging into that the building was built to come down the way it did. That the explosives have been in it since the day it was.
oh, I know. Yeah. Well, if nothing else, it was definitely added before, way before, months before,
Yeah.
Because there
Also, there's also stories out there that there was stuff that was placed that almost had to be as it was constructed. There, you can't get into the
yeah,
places.
and Stavely believes that too, that it was always meant to be destroyed. Yes.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff. I'm glad you. I will look into that more too. All right, so let me read a little more on that. Okay, so these are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devour their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. These have the power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all the plagues, and as often as they will. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be, they're coming. They'll be coming back. I don't think it's just the Twin Towers. That might have been something, just a sign of it or whatever. But
Yeah, he was using using it symbolically.
right, but yeah.
As
Even some of this is symbolically too. But I don't know, but
yeah. So how
okay.
I can't how he would explain how they were claiming they were antennas, in the candlestick part where they're lit up at night and stuff like that. I remember that, but I can't remember what he was talking about. How they used them to control the other stuff they were talking about.
Right. It says, and they shall have when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them. See, yeah, and is it a coincidence that CERN is built over the spot that's where apparently the bottomless pit is, and they're trying to release something, at their own words, yeah. So
yeah.
let's see, and make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of that great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations that shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry and shall send them gifts one to another, and, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood up upon their feet, and the great fear fell upon them which saw them, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And then you got the second woe, and the same hour, and the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the tenth part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to the God of heaven. The second woe
Well,
was
that
past.
completely knocked out the Twin Towers. That the Twin Towers is out of contention completely right there.
Right, exactly.
They didn't descend into heaven, and
Yeah.
none of it happened.
I know exactly. So
yeah, they didn't.
yeah.
How did the towers speak prophecy or prophesy to anybody or anything? You know.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, but it's definitely it's definitely once they come, yeah, it's on for sure.
Yeah. I just wondered if anybody else had ever heard that.
Right,
I wish I
right.
knew what them people.
But now, I mean, now some of the stuff that, like I said, that Jonathan Cahn, Rabbi Jonathan Cahn says about 9/11, does make sense, and it's not exactly what you're saying. So, and I've shared some of his stuff before on it, but yeah, the Pope, the Pope coming to America fulfilled some prophecy. I mean, there is some prophecy that I think the Twin Towers, I think it's in prophecy, but maybe not quite the way that not that anyway. But not the two witnesses. But yeah, it's very interesting stuff, man. Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so what is everybody doing? Voynich still around. CERN is still there. Okay, Zilrin's here. Tara's here. I don't know if Jennifer's still here. Hey, Craig. Craig Stever is here. Let's see. I'm going to throw the link out there one more time. I'm probably going to only stay on for another 30 minutes or so, so I can get out and do some things in the yard and whatnot. And, my neighbors, that I've told y'all about, the three ladies, they had a yard sale, and I don't know if I don't know if they sold anything other than what I bought from them. But I just seen earlier when I went to Dollar General, like where Patrick said he was earlier. Dollar General. But anyway, one of the twin ladies was down there at the end of the road, holding up two Dale Earnhardt like sweatshirts or sweaters or something. I bought a jacket from him, a Dale Earnhardt jacket. It's back behind me in this picture here. You can see it on the background. But so she had a sign saying $15 a piece, and they were nice. They're probably worth that or more, whatever. So I wasn't interested in buying one of them, but I did give her $5. I was like, here, just to help her out, but yeah, it bothers me that so many people are suffering, especially believers in God and Jesus, and as they are, and it's the rich don't care. They don't care, one bit about the little man, and the evil elite certainly don't. The people behind politics, they all act like they care about the people underneath them, but they really don't. They know that they've got it made, and that it's hard to remove them, and so they just keep continually being greedy and evil, and bringing on the new world order. And,
That's I'll tell you,
They
that's
keep
one good
exposing
thing
it.
about being in the military. You can recognize you get out because they really act like they're concerned about you. I mean, they want to keep you safe and get you to sick bay and take care of you. And they'll get your ass killed quicker than anything in the world. And once you realize that, when somebody starts coming up and shining you on about how much they care about your health care, because
Yeah.
it's the same tactics. You sit here and watch TV, and the Red Cross Blue Shield this and that, and the government's helping you, and you sit there and I'm like, man, that's the same thing. They pissed right down my back telling me the same thing when I was in the Marine Corps. And they'll get your ass killed right now. Send a nice letter home to your family and everything. All the boo-hoo and the parade and all that, and they don't give a shit. They don't care. But it looks good.
I'm glad that my son did 4 years in Marines and got out because he was going to re-enlist. My stepson, and I'm thankful that he's not still in there. For
Yeah,
to be a guinea pig.
He went in the Army. I tried to buy him a brand new car, keep him from doing. One of the times I tried to bribe my kids, and he went ahead and do it. And hell, he got sent to Afghanistan. It was pretty tough for me, man. Everybody else, they dealt with it, but man, I knew what he was going through, and it was a little bit tougher for me. But he made it out there.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad he did. Man, I keep looking out there, and it's just so sunny and nice.
Yeah, unfortunately we don't have that problem here. They've got a good reason to stay in the house here.
Right. Yeah, your temperatures are not pleasant, huh? Did you hear me?
What's that?
I said your temperatures aren't pleasant.
No, it's chilly. Matter of fact, we just turned the heater on. The sun's getting down out of the windows enough here until we had to turn the heater on.
Oh my goodness.
We live down in this. We actually live in the bottom of a holler. Well, not in the road's in the bottom of it, but about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's like sundown. And the sun don't come up until about 10:30 or 11. Just got big hills on both sides of us.
Yeah, I used to live down in a holler, so I had hills all the way around me.
You got one? I figured it'd be flat as a pancake down there where you're at.
No, I said I used to in Tennessee before I moved down here.
Yeah.
I lived in a holler. But there are some areas here in Northwest Florida, just like on the border of Alabama, that there's hills, not as big as Tennessee hills, but you can still find some little hollers, here and there. But yeah, I definitely miss Tennessee for the beautiful hills and hollers and.
Yeah, we wouldn't trade it for nothing. We got deer that come up and drink water out of the thing where our gutter drips right outside the bedroom window there, and all out in the front yard and everything. And we got a lot of other stuff we don't care. We got chickens and animals and stuff like that, so we got a pretty good problem with raccoons and possums and skunks and things like that. But we got a lot of wildlife activity around here.
Yeah, well, I definitely did down in my holler too. They all came through there,
Yeah.
It's
us comfortable though, because I mean, everything's okay as long as you got all that stuff around, boys. And when that stuff disappears, you got a daggone bobcat, or we're getting black bears. We're getting black bears around here a good bit now. There's a lot of trail cam pictures of them and stuff.
Craig says it's snowing in Massachusetts today.
Yeah, I can do without the snow. It's pretty, but I'm driving.
Exactly. But we kind of do welcome it here because it's so very rare that we get it here in Florida, even. But it'd be just a dusting usually, pretty much.
Yeah, I complain about it, but I got to admit, man, when I wake up in the morning, there's a big old fresh blanket of snow on the way it smells outside, and still it makes you feel like a kid again.
Yeah.
But then when you get in the truck and
Yeah.
you're sliding around on it, there's a bad thing about living in these hills. Woo,
Yeah.
buddy, you're some of them. When it's slick, ain't much more exciting than getting down them.
I know. I've been there many times. And I rode my I made the horrible mistake of riding my motorcycle in the dead of winter from my house hour and 10 minutes outside of Nashville, from into Nashville, and it was snowing and just, oh my goodness, dude. I when time I got home, like 8 hours later, I mean, I went and did some things, and then but when I got home, I was almost frozen to my motorcycle, and I probably couldn't have rode it another 10 minutes or so, and I would have wrecked or something. I'm sure. I mean, it was just unbelievable, and I'm sure I was. Because see, I was on the interstate, doing interstate speeds, and it's just so freaking much colder when you're on a bike, if you don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, I rode a bike all my life. I got an 07 or Ultra Classic. Me and my wife ride, and I ride all year round. But if I get caught in snow, I leave it somewhere. I'll leave it at a gas station or some of my friends' houses or something like that, and have my wife come get me. But I haven't got caught in a good while. But I got a heated. Well, I'm getting me some of them heated stuff you put on and then put your snowmobile seat on over top of it. But I've always loved riding a bike.
Yeah, I got you. I was on a Honda Interceptor sport bike, so
That you were getting you don't get no wind off it. This old Harley, it's got that big bat wing fairing in the front and them, the things in front of the leg fairings in front of your leg and stuff, and it actually kind of makes the heat from that engine boil around you.
Right.
Because it's still air cooled.
Wow. Yeah.
Them old Harleys are.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I ride a Harley, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're the best motorcycle in the world.
I already know. I know.
Yeah, bro. What? That's something,
I know.
man. I get to talking about these churches and flat Earth and stuff, and then I bring in that Harley thing. That's a third strike. That'd get me busted in the mouth right there.
Wow. Right.
They'll listen to you, boy. You say something about you don't stand there, and they go like, "Oh man, you love Harleys." And I'm like, I love riding. I don't love Harleys. I like it.
Yeah.
I like that bike, and I like the way it sounds, and it rides nice. It handles good and everything. But I'm sick of working on it. I'm sick of it breaking down. And
yeah, exactly.
Man, you can get on a Goldwing and ride that thing. You can get on a 1986 Goldwing Aspencade and ride that thing all over the country and never have to worry about anything happening to it.
Right. Yeah. I used to have an old full dresser Honda Goldwing. I'm talking like it was a 75 or 6 or something, man. It was,
back when they were still 1,000 cc's.
Yeah. I had it when I was 18 years old, and yeah, it was a fun little bike. Definitely, I'll dig out a picture someday and share it with you guys.
Well, dude, that's one of the first engines I ever saw in my life. They could balance a nickel on its edge while it was running through the RPM range.
Yeah.
And to take something that produced, that engine wasn't no slouch. Those Goldwings, well, they'll smoke a Harley. Them things are way faster than a Harley.
You could turn them into drag bikes. Yeah,
Oh, man.
I've drag raced one that was turned into a drag bike.
Well, them flat engines are pretty much perfectly balanced. Everything in them's counteracting, and all other engines have got to have counterbalances and stuff with them.
You put some nitrous on them. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little tiny water cooled Volkswagen engine.
Oh man. So well, nobody else wants to join us, Bolt Gun. They don't like us.
I guess not. When you mentioned that about the Pope, I was wanting to mention that the other night. I was on there with Rick, there's so many people on there.
Uh-huh.
By the time it got back around, heck, I fell asleep on you guys.
Right.
But yeah, I remember watching that video, man, where them kids, they had all them kids that was sitting there in them handicap chair or in that handicap section, and I noticed the kids, the special needs kids, man, I'm gonna call them, the ones that had some mental problems there. When he, just as soon as he touched them, boy, they bowed up backwards and their eyes and they gasped for air and stuff. And I told you, said you could just tell it was like shocking them or something. And those are God's children, you know. I mean, I think they've got a closer connection to God than anybody else down here.
Mm-hmm.
Kids that's in that kind of condition or whatever, that they do have a pure heart, man. How could they be corrupted?
Mm-hmm. I feel you on that, brother man. Well, I hate that your weather's not beautiful, but I'm guessing it's time to go out and get in my nice weather. Let me see what it says the temperature is now. It should be about 65. Wouldn't that be nice with sunny skies?
Yeah, it's cloudy, raining, and 50 here, I think.
63. We're up to 63. And it's going to get up to, they're saying it's going to get up to 65 now. Or 66 before it's over with. But it's already 2, so yeah. 2, almost 3. Yeah, it feels like 61, it says. So that's, yeah. That's pretty inviting.
Well, get out there and enjoy it, man.
Yeah, I probably should. All right, brother man. Well, I guess I'll be back either tonight or tomorrow or something, and always look forward to these times where we get to fellowship and talk about the crazy world we live in. And I hope everybody enjoyed today's show, and I appreciate you joining me, Bolt Gun, and just see everybody on the flip side, and hope everybody has a blessed weekend, wonderful weekend, and may God bless you all. And we're gonna say goodbye now. Tommy here, Tommy out. Bye bye.
Thank you, Tommy.